Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about gaps in the price. Gaps are a fascinating concept in trading, and they occur when there's a distance between the close of a candle and then the open of the next price. If there's a space in between, this can be considered a gap. This occurs a lot when there's the big market moves, when there's a news event in the Forex market, or in some other markets like stocks, when the price closes for the weekend, then there's usually a gap in the Monday when the market opens again. So we'll see how can we exploit that and examples in this video on how can you trade based off of that. There are two types of gap: the gaps up, which are bullish gaps, and the gaps down, which are bearish gaps. If the price closes higher than the previous candle, it's considered a bullish gap, meaning the market had a very big momentum to the upside. On the other hand, if the price goes down and there is a little gap between two candles, then it means that there's a lot of selling pressure, and this gap is considered a bearish gap. And that's what makes value gaps significant. They're a very good indication of the momentum of the market. If the price goes so quickly that even between two candles there's a difference, then this is really indicating that there's a lot of selling or buying pressure. And that's what we can use to our advantage for trading. Now let's get into the charts and I'll show you how to use it for a trading strategy. All right, so I chose Tesla as a demonstration for today because for value gaps, I feel like they appear quite often in stocks. And we have a few of them here, even in the 4-hour chart. There's very high likelihood that you will find some little gaps like this. And as you can see, the gap appears when this candle closes, and then the next one should normally start at the same time. So as you can see, there's a little difference between the end of that candle and the start of that one. So this little area here is called a gap. And this little gap will be quite significant. You can see that after that, the price is kind of acting as a resistance, it's balancing off of it. And there's this theory in the market that every gap will be retested at some point, and that's what happens here. And it's not only retested, it's broken through. And so you can see that this little gap right here was also indicating that the market was going to push higher, because this is essentially an imbalance between the buyers and the seller, between the supply and the demand, for those who like smart money concepts. And with this information, we can know that, okay, there is a strong buying pressure here, because the people are buying even faster than the price can show on the candles. So then we get on top of that a big candle here with a wick, so that's a very nice signal. And we would just wait for the retest of that gap, for example here, and then enter on a trade when we see that little candle here. We can put the stop loss below this, because otherwise that would be a bit too much, and target a 2 risk to reward, and we would barely get it here, but we would probably if you enter quite nicely here. And another example is the bearish type of gaps, and you see this one here, that's a pretty big one as well on the 4-hour charts. Like, this is pretty insane. It would be quite significant on other charts. So you can see here there's like again a little gap, and I think we can see some more. For instance, here there's also like a little weird gap happening, and another one here. That one is quite significantly bull as well, and you can tell that the market just reverses from this point. That's showing the momentum is really strong. And I think this can also here, like this little one, can also almost be considered a gap. Okay, not really, there's still like something. And yeah, this one is not really a gap, so let's just stick with that one, for example. And the thing is that gaps also appear usually on Friday nights, like between Friday to Monday. You see here there's like a little weird thing happening. And that's because the stock market closes on the weekends. And that's why I was saying that there's more gaps on this type of positions. That being said, Forex also closes, so this is also a good indication that on the weekends, if you see any any gaps on the Monday morning on Forex, it's also working just the same. Crypto doesn't have as many gaps because it's 24/7, and when there is an actual gap in crypto, then it's much more significant because it means that this is only due to the buying pressure. So how to use the gaps in your trading? There are two ways. The first one is just to wait for the retest of it and then just continue the same trend. But another nice idea is that because gaps tend to be retested quite often, you can have more of a reversion to means type of strategy where you are counter trend trading. So this is a bit more risky. But as you can see here, you would try to take the trade from this point and to target this little gap, but you will need other signals than this. It's not like based on random candles. You have to have a resistance or something that's actually mattering. But let's keep this example of the gap. I'm just gonna delete this. So this gap, as you can see, it forms then kind of a resistance. And when you get another setup, for instance, here you see that there's this reversal and we break the super trend signal. Yeah, I left the super trend signal. I have a video on that if you're interested to know how does it work. For example, here, well, when we break the super trend and we see another gap up, that would be quite a good signal to enter. And we can wait for the retest or just enter here, but then with a bit of a bigger stop loss to here. So this one right here would not be a very nice risk to reward. So probably we would need to take the stop loss, for instance, to the super trend. I really like to take the super trend as an indicator because it's quite strongly showing the trend as well. So for reversions strategies like this, it's pretty nice to wait also for this type of additional confirmation. And we just enter here, the price will just wiggle a bit around, but hopefully it will eventually come to retest this gap, and it does here and break through. And we can see, for example, here there's a big gap also. Let me just clean the chart a bit because it's getting a bit messy. So we have this clean gap here, and then we can see that from here there was this gap and this consolidation zone that was the resistance. I'm just gonna add this like that, and it's been retested many times, so we know it's a pretty strong area of resistance. And so we see this gap, and when there is a fake breakout here, the price tries to push but it doesn't go through, then we can enter when it breaks it, for example here, and we would target the end of this little value gap. But I think for this particular case, we would need to have a bit of a better signal, because here this is just way too late and the risk to reward is not like so appealing because this candle just goes so quickly. And so maybe we would just drop out on the 1 hour to get a better example of the signal, and we just take this stop loss at the last high. And when we see that this candle breaks through, like for example this huge one, which is quite impressive, I think we can consider this as a nice breakthrough. Again, with the super trend, I really recommend using this, and we can target the middle or the end of that gap, because as I was saying, gaps are very often retested, and boom, here we would get our little retest of the gap, and actually the price breaks through. And as you can see on stocks, there's also quite a lot of times gaps, even on the 1 hour time frame. We can see that this is quite crazy, and that's due to volatility. Especially Tesla is a quite volatile stocks, like it's making crazy moves. It's basically almost like a crypto. And you can also find this type of gaps on crypto that have very low liquidity, so beware of that, because you might see that the price is going up, but your order is just not going to get filled because the candles look crazy, and that's really not a good thing. So that's it for today's video. If you liked it, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like that. And if you have any questions, you can just post them on the comments. I'll read everything and try to answer as best as I can. Thank you, and see you in the next video.